Welcome to LFC Transfer Hub. Arne Slot Press Conference. Bournemouth, title defense, Szoboszlai role and more. Arne Slot is excited by the start of the new Premier League season and ready for the challenge of Liverpool defending their title. The Reds, champions in 2024-25, begin the next top-flight campaign by hosting AFC Bournemouth at Anfield on Friday night. Ahead of the clash with the Cherries, head coach Slot spoke to the media at a press conference this morning, discussing a range of topics on how ready he feels Liverpool are to start the Premier League season. As ready as we can be. I think I've emphasized last week the fact that we have lost 3 or 4 starters and, unfortunately, Ryan Gravenberch was not able to play last week and is not able to play this week. So that means if you exclude the goalkeeper from the 10 outfield positions, 5 were different than the main starters we had last season. If you then look at the quality we bring on the ball, I'm very happy with that. Without the ball, it's 8 out of 10 times also very good. But the aim at this club is not 8 out of 10 times, it's 10 out of 10 times. And that is the fine-tuning we still need to find defensively. That went in pre-season one time better than the other one. Against Athletic Club Bilbao, I was really pleased with our defensive performance because we didn't give away any chance, I think, at all from open play. But we did concede from 2 set pieces. Against Crystal Palace, the main chances we conceded were when we lost the balls ourselves. So it has been ups and downs where the downs were not so low, but I think there is the main part for us still to improve, which is normal. I think for everyone in preseason it's normal that there's still room for improvement, let alone if we not only lost 3 or 4 starters. I think we've lost 5 to 6 players that played quite a lot of minutes for us last season and we brought in for new ones, so then it's normal that there's a little bit of adaptation. But we are definitely ready for the league to start. On his expectations for the season, the reason why that is so difficult to retain the title lies mainly in the fact that there's so many competitors that can also win the league over here. To win it once is already very special, let alone if you can win it twice in 3, 4 or 5 years, or as we did twice in 5 years, and Manchester City did even better than us in the last few years. So that's unbelievable if you're able to do this in this league. And probably this year is going to be harder than every year before, because every team brings in new players, but our main competitors definitely did as well. On what he expects from Bournemouth on Friday, they are intense. They made it really difficult for us last season. We beat them 3-0 where you feel like, what is he talking about, difficult? But if you look at the game, they had the first big chance of the game. They scored a goal which was fractionally offside. Then we 3 times, I wouldn't say counterattacked them, but we were very fast in moving the ball from back to forward. And all of a sudden at halftime we were 3-0 up, and then I thought, which I always thought when I was a manager in Holland, this is going to be for 5 or 6-0. But the mentality Bournemouth showed in the second half, they just kept on going. That's the mentality they had throughout the whole season afterwards as well. They also lost some players, they also brought in good new ones. As they've shown in the last few years, that they can always bring in good new players. And away, it was even more difficult for us. So, very good team, good manager, and a challenge for us on Friday. But looking forward to it because an evening game at Anfield is something that everyone is looking forward to it. On improving Liverpool's defensive solidity after pre-season, don't forget we missed Alexis Mac Allister as well in the last part of last season and he hardly was able to play in our pre-season. Only now recently he has played a few games, played a few minutes. But it's not that I'm not happy about certain parts. I was saying just a second ago that the standard here is 10 out of 10. So, it's not 1 or 2 things we don't do well, no. In general, we do all well, but well is not good enough, and there we have to go 1 step up in certain aspects. Not in all aspects, in certain aspects. And then there's something like against Bilbao, we were really good defensively but conceded 2 set pieces. And the games before, we also had mixed teams, so then you can also accept a little bit better that maybe timings between players were not as good as when you play the starters that have played so many times together. So there are reasons for it. Like I just said, mixed teams, new players coming in, Virgil van Dijk. Being sick against Bilbao, Alisson Becker. Not being there. Maka being injured, Ryan not able to play and new players brought in. But all of this is definitely not an excuse when we start the league on Friday because we will 100% be ready on Friday. On Jeremy Frimpong's profile as a right-back and how he could link up with Mohamed Salah. In my opinion, Jeremy and Connor Bradley are similar types, although Jeremy is maybe better in the 1v1s than Connor is. But I think Jeremy and Connor can both contribute to Mo's output because if you play against these two, you have to be aware of these two as well. So, it normally gives Mo even more space to get the 1v1s. Because if we isolate Jeremy in a 1v1, it's difficult for the other team, and if we isolate Mo in a 1v1, it's difficult for the other team as well. Where maybe last season the opposition, could give a little bit more help because Trent Alexander-Arnold was a little bit more behind the ball, which was also dangerous because when Mo brought it back, Trent could deliver one of his famous crosses. So, it's different types, but I think both types, and Trent proved it together with Mo. Trent brought the best out of Mo. I think the same thing is going to happen with Connor and Jeremy with Mo in that regard. On Dominik Szoboszlai being used in a deeper role, I think he can play both roles really well and he has his quality in both roles, and things he can improve in both roles. What stands out with Dominik is the way he can press. I don't think there are many midfielders in the world you can find that are better in the intensity he can press with. But if he's playing at 10, I think the improvement he can make is playing between the lines, finding the balls there and getting not the end product in goals but more the through balls. And if he's playing behind the ball, I think that's not new for him, but he hasn't played there a lot last season, so sometimes you need to adjust to your teammates and in your positioning. I think he's had a really good preseason. He didn't play his best game against Palace, but for the rest he had a very good preseason. How Florian Wirtz's LFC start has surpassed Arne Slot's expectations. Florian Wirtz's start to his Liverpool career has surpassed Arne Slot's already high expectations. The summer arrival from Bayer Leverkusen made his competitive debut for the Reds last weekend in the FA Community Shield with Crystal Palace, on the back of an impressive pre-season. Wirtz produced the assist for Hugo Ekitike's fourth-minute opener against the Eagles at Wembley, and Slot believes the number 7 is settling in well on and off the pitch. The head coach said at a press conference today, "We have a very good player care department, so I'm not looking for houses together with him or these kind of things. But on the pitch and on the training ground and in videos, he needs help for him to understand the way we want to play. That's not 180 degrees different than Xabi Alonso. The system is different, but we want to be intense. Xabi Alonso wanted to be intense. He liked to dominate possession. Xabi tried to bring him in positions we want to try to bring him in, so a lot of things are the same for him. But it's true he has to adjust to England, to the league, to the intensity, and to his new teammates as well. But I think if you saw the games, his adjustment went quite well, better than even expected, and we already expected a lot." Slot continued, "He might be young, but he already won a lot. Factually, we can see him as a young player, but in terms of his experience that he's already having, I don't see him as a young player. He won the league in Germany, won the cup, played for his country numerous times. And apart from that, his mentality is maybe his biggest strength. And that says a lot because if you see him play, you're like, are you serious? Because he's so creative. But how mentally strong he is, he doesn't get distracted at all by a transfer fee or anything else. I think good players always find a way to play well in good teams, and he is a good player and he plays in a good team." Read pre-match team news from both sides ahead of Liverpool's Premier League opener versus AFC Bournemouth on Friday. Joe Gomez was back in training with the reigning champions this week after being sidelined for several weeks with a minor fitness issue. On the possibility of the number 2 returning to the squad for the 8 p.m. British summertime kickoff against the Cherries, Arne Slot said at his pre-match press conference, "I have to make a decision on that. I think he only trained twice now, missed quite a lot in preseason. But if you looked at our bench against Palace, I think there were 3 players that were 20 years old or younger. So, there is a possibility that Joe might be on the bench, but I have to look at the numbers and who we're going to take." No update was given on Connor Bradley, who was not involved in last weekend's FA Community Shield at Wembley as he recovers from an injury. Ryan Gravenberch is suspended for this match as a result of his red card on the final day of last season. If selected for his competitive Anfield debut, summer signing Milos Kerkez will be up against his former club. On the challenge Bournemouth pose, Slot said, "They made it really difficult for us last season. We beat them 3-0 where you feel like, what is he talking about, difficult? But if you look at the game, they had the first big chance of the game. They scored a goal which was fractionally offside. Then we 3 times, I wouldn't say counterattacked them, but we were very fast in moving the ball from back to forward. And all of a sudden at halftime we were 3-0 up, and then I thought, which I always thought when I was a manager in Holland, this is going to be for 5 or 6-0. But the mentality Bournemouth showed in the second half, they just kept on going. That's the mentality they had throughout the whole season afterwards as well. They also lost some players, they also brought in good new ones. As they've shown in the last few years, that they can always bring in good new players. In a way, it was even more difficult for us. So, very good team, good manager, and a challenge for us on Friday. But looking forward to it because an evening game at Anfield is something that everyone is looking forward to it. For the visitors, Enes Ünal is a long-term absentee having suffered an anterior cruciate ligament injury in January. Also on the sidelines in recent months have been Ryan Christie, Lewis Cook, Justin Kluivert, and Luis Sinisterra. On the availability of Dango Ouattara amid speculation regarding his future, Cherry's boss Andoni Iraola said on Thursday afternoon, "Dango is going to train with us today. He's here, he's in the building. But it's true, I don't know what's going to happen. We're taking it day by day. I'll ask the club if he can play, if he can travel." These are the kinds of situations every team faces. Players leaving, players arriving. It'll continue like this for the next 2 weeks. Incomings for Bournemouth this summer include Eli Junior Krupi, Adrian Truffert, George Petrovic, and, announced on Wednesday, Bafodé Diakite. On facing Liverpool for matchday 1, Iraola added, "It's a tough game for us. The first of the season, and we're up against the champions. They've also signed really well this summer, so we know it won't be easy. We have to be ready, give everything, and make them feel at some point that beating us won't be easy." Thanks for watching. Like and comment and subscribe.